Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of today's episode of Jace Beleren Must Die. We're doing a little bit of downtime for all the characters. So everybody is, after all the trauma of the last 16 episodes, everybody's taking a short break to go and work on personal guild stuff. So while Torgor is out getting lauded for tax crimes, Tack, let's check in on you. Let's give you some reward for those crimes. So you were talking about how you want to sell some of the filthy objects you've stolen. Let's do an inventory of what stolen goods you have. What do you got?
I thought about doing that, but then I was like, maybe I should go to work.
I mean, this is a kind of work.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, also remind me. There he goes. I was gonna say. If you are working for your guild, you can increase your guild renown. So that's the other option. Yeah. If you do something explicitly for the guild. So
yeah, that's what I was.
Torgor, increase your guild renown. I think because you agreed to it, increase your guild renown by 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Tack, what do you want to do with your time, both narratively and which downtime option do you want to pick?
I think that Tack would eventually, Tack has never done any work for the guild. And since Tack's mom has been turning recruiters away and stuff, I think Tack would finally sit down with their mom and be like, fine, just show me the stupid brochures, I guess.
Okay. So let's have that scene. You're at home? Are you waiting for your mom to get home from her work? Or do you come in and she's already home? Set the scene for me.
I think I come home and she's already home. And just because it's the weirdest mood where I guess my entire team's gonna get murdered again and I'm gonna have to go to another team. Should I even go back to work now? I don't know.
Yeah, so you're just sitting at the table looking troubled.
Yeah, it's what's my fallback if I if I get another team from the conspiracy murdered again?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. And then she starts in on me with I can't turn the recruiters away against.
Well, so yeah, just I like the idea that Tack has just already figured out how this conversation is gonna go. That you're rolling it over in your head, okay, and then and so she comes home to the door to this place that you live. Which is it's a ruin, right? That's been repurposed. Most of the Golgari Undercity is that. It's it used to be street level, but Ravnica was built on top of it. It's probably illuminated by glow bugs in a glass bulb that's attached to the ceiling. So there's this the faint sound of the candles that you have lit to keep the place warm and illuminated. You can hear them spitting and hissing every once in a while. The faint ticking sound of the bugs in the inside of the bulb kind of flittering around. And you've just been alone with your thoughts for a little while. Is there anything on the table? Have you been eating, or is it just clear?
I suspect that Tack has been making Constanza bring them sugar cubes one by one and just fucking around with Atrax on the table. Just the Constanza will bring a sugar cube and Tack will eat it and go go another one.
right. It's ordering shots of whiskey but eating sugar. So you're sitting at a table and there's this little trail of sugar, and then the bowl with the sugar cubes that is just slowly getting lower and lower as your little pat walks back and forth between it, giving you sugar cubes. You pop them in your mouth, another one, and then walks all the way over to the table. And yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, just throwing back sugar cubes. It's been a long day.
Yeah. So your mom comes home, and when she does, we haven't seen her in a while. Give me a description of your mom again. What does she look like? She's a dev card and she's an elf.
Yeah, the Lady Navenka isn't. I know we've described her as corporate goth, very Lucy from Charlie's Angels. I don't think that she has been assassinating right now. I think that she's mostly filing paperwork and stuff for that. So she hasn't come back from a mission, but she still dresses very smartly, very pencil skirts with a slit that's probably a little higher than it should be, but she gets away with it because she's super hot. And she probably comes in And when she comes in, I think that her shoulders like sag a little bit because like she doesn't often show like whether she's tired or annoyed or bored or anything, but didn't expect to see Tack there. So like that facade is not there right now. And then.
So does she put that facade up like for you too?
Absolutely.
Right. Because she kind of has to protect you from, or she thinks she has to protect you from the fact that you are why she's not out there killing fools like she wants to be.
Yeah.
Right? That like the organization sort of looks down on her for adopting you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think that she has to present herself to Tack as the model that Tack should be following if Tack were capable of following it. Yeah. Like whatever, she is untouchable and she has to present herself like that to everybody, including Tack. Especially Tack.
Yeah. Okay. So she when she comes in, you can see that she kind of is like letting her guard down a little, and then she sees you, and we watch her physically like change. Her posture changes, and as she's taking her shoes off and setting her bag down, she looks over her shoulder at you and says, like, "Oh, Tack, sweetheart, I didn't expect to see you today."
Hey, Mom.
She turns and looks at you. Is everything all right?
We're out of sugar cubes.
I see that. Something happened.
No. Yes.
And she comes over, walks over to the table, and she looks down. And so when your mom sees that you're like upset, that something's going on, would she play into like, because she knows that you like eat sweets when you're like anxious or like fired up, which is I guess why we see you doing it all the time. Would she be like, "Do you want me to make you a cake?" Or would she be like, "Okay, that's enough sugar, honey"?
Okay, that's enough sugar.
Yeah, I figured as much. So there are a few more cubes in the bowl, and she just like swats away the delivery vector, right? He's like, no, and just slides the bowl aside, and she's like, "Okay, well, why don't you tell me about it?" And she sits down across from you at the table.
Do you ever think I'm like needlessly destructive?
That sounds like a loaded question, sweetheart.
Is there going to be a yes at the end?
Well, the question isn't about whether you're destructive or not. It's in your nature. You destroy things. Something I like about you. Needless. And where's that coming from? Did one of your friends say something?
Yeah, well, no, but like I set fire to this police precinct, and then the guy that we broke out of jail got murdered, and it was like it didn't even matter.
So what would it feel like if it did matter, honey?
I don't know, like probably better. I don't know, like maybe I'd get to kill more people, but now it's like I don't even know who I'm killing right now. Like, what's the point?
And she nods. She like, I understand, and she says, "Well, honey, you know, I've been around a long time, and I've killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels good, like you're making a difference. You know, you find an enemy of the guild, and you poison them, and you watch them die before your very eyes, and it feels like you've really done something, changed the world.
Great.
But it doesn't always have to feel like that. I mean, for me, I remember plenty of missions I've been given where I had to go and kill somebody or two somebodies or a whole room full of people. And in the end, it just felt sort of empty. I didn't know why I was doing it. It was just following orders.
Yeah.
What do you think helps make you feel better about that? When you drive that knife into them, what makes it feel like it counts?
When people are like, "Oh my God, why did you do that?"
So,
and I could just be like, "'Cause I wanted to." But now it's like, I don't even want to right now.
So she gets this concerned look, and she's like, "Tack, honey, I'm worried about you. I know how much you love pointless killing."
Yeah, it's the best.
But it doesn't feel the same anymore?
No.
This would be the part where she'd be like, "You know, I really think you should talk to Dr. Lawrence again. I know you don't like him. You know, like, we need to get you into some Golgari therapy to remind you of how good it is to kill again."
Yeah.
And she says, I want you to know, sweetheart, that no matter what you do, I love you. I love you for who you are, not for why you kill or that you kill at all. If you never killed another person in your whole life, I'd still love you. You know that, right?
I think that like Tack like does a like a and then like Nevenka probably has like this small like almost smile, like just like please.
Yeah, and they both smile like, oh, we know that'll never happen, but you know, just
it's
in case.
To promise because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And so she smiles and she says, now I know that you took the oaths of the Golgari. I know that you joined the guild, and I know that was a hard decision for you, and that you've been struggling with that a little bit. And I want you to know, even though I've been a member of the Swarm for 1,000 years, if you decide that's not the way your life is going anymore, I'll still love you. If you wanted to become a member of the Izzet League, or if you wanted to join the House Demir, or any of the other guilds, I would still find it in my heart to love you. You would still be welcome in my home, no matter what anyone says.
I don't want to join a guild with more rules.
She kind of like looks and she's like, I know you've been spending time with that Rakdos boy.
Ugh, that just makes killing work.
And she kind of like, she can see her thinking over it, and she leans in and she says, you know, I believe in work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have hobbies. If you make the killing your whole life, it can start to lose that shine. Now, for me, yes, I'm very good at murdering people. I take pride in my work, and while I haven't been able to do it much lately, and she scowls, and that mask falls a little bit. Like there's a tiny bit of that like weakness of like not blaming you, but having had that other people blame you for it. Like you see the human side of her, not just the mom side, for just a second. And she's like, she recognizes like, I haven't been able to do the thing that I love, but that's not about me right now. Put your, Nevenka, put your own needs aside. This is about your child right now. And so she, you see her like, it's like, it's okay. It's not about me. I have to take care of my kid. And she says, even though I haven't been able to do it for a while now, it's something that I love, not because it brings me joy as a person, but because it allows me to contribute to the Swarm. It's my place. Some people in the Swarm are mandibles. Some people are tiny little legs carrying the Swarm along. I'm a stinger. That's my job. I kill people. Maybe you need to find your job. I know that you've been a member of the Swarm for a little while, but you haven't really found your place.
I think that's like the moment that it like, and Tack is so off guard. That's like slipping in, you should get a job, honey.
Right, that's exactly, that's fully what she's doing right now. Yes, like and maybe Tack's what you need is a job. That would be good for you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even know where to start.
And she says, she's like, oh, well, of course I can help you with that. I could put you in touch with any number of people in the guild who could find you a place. The Swarm does so much for Ravnica. It's not all just poisoning and killing. We have necromancers. You could learn necromancy. Maybe you'd be good at that. We have corpse processors. We have dissectors. You could work in the spore farms. What do you think? What excites you, honey? And you don't have to choose anything forever. Life is long. And then she kind of looks at you like, well, like mine is, but you're a goblin, so you'll probably be dead by the time you're 40. Yeah,
like 30-ish.
And I think
reached adulthood at 8.
And I think that realization maybe like derails her like a little bit. You see her eyes like well up a little, because she's just like, oh, Nevenka, you idiot. Like they grow up so fast. Like she's gonna be a moldering corpse. They're gonna be a moldering corpse before you realize it.
Yeah. It's like keeping a parrot, really.
Cats in the Cradle starts to play in the back of her head. And, yeah, she's just like, but it's okay because you remember the Golgari. She can bring you back as a zombie and you'll be around forever.
Yeah, because like they just turned 10 last fall. And,
yeah. Right? Like you're a quarter of the way through your life and she's 1,000 years old. Like you're like a hiccup, but she loves you so much. And so I think she puts in a rare show of physical affection. She like puts her hand, one of her like delicate, perfect elven murder hands on top of your knobby goblin hand. She puts her hand on yours.
Murder hands.
Yeah, and she leans in a little and she says, whatever you choose, I just want you to be happy. You know that, don't you, honey?
Yeah, I guess so. I love you too, Mom.
Yeah, and she smiles and she gets up and she says, I was just gonna make myself some dinner. You want something?
Do we have any grubs?
She nods and she's like, of course, and goes over to the grub box. I guess you probably grow them yourself, right? There's probably like a
immediate hand in the sugar cube dish.
Just like reach, just shove it. Awesome. All right, cool. So what, I guess like your work, the working that you do, you can just tell me what job you try to do and then pick a skill and then we'll roll it. So like what's the work placement thing that you do for a week to try out like a job in the Golgari?
I think because I, TK, have been reading Guildmasters Guide to Ravnica because I discovered recently that when you have the book on D&D Beyond, you can actually read it, not just click the stats. Mm-hmm. So I read it. I read a book. Mm-hmm. And I really like the idea of like the reclaimers.
Yeah.
So like going through like old buildings and nonsense.
Cool. Yeah. So you go out on like, and this is the like kind of traditional, like you it's funny because your character in the game does things that D&D characters don't normally do. And then your side job is going into ruins and finding lost stuff and like probably fighting monsters.
Yeah.
So you go on an adventure?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, cool. What is Tack's skill? What is Tack's job in the party when you do this?
I think because scout is what I chose for my rogue subclass.
Okay,
I think
cool.
Scouting, making sure that like there aren't like, I remember the Krull and their ridiculous little nest that they had.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be messing with that nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, it turns out like your mom said, like you love chaos and murder, but you're also like pretty good as a scout, right? Like leading people through dangerous places and keeping them from. And like, we'll see how well you do. I'll get you to roll. We'll see what D&D thinks that if you're good at this or not. I think this would probably be. What do you think? Survival?
I knew you were going to say
maybe?
that, but yes, I will accept that since I'm proficient in it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the role. Go for it.
Yay! Let's do it.
Oh my god, this needs to go. Oh please,
we just had such a wholesome moment.
No, I teared up.
I'm gonna go ahead and use inspiration. Actually.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Neat.
It goes average. It's not a total mess.
It's my first day, guys.
Yeah, maybe this isn't the best job for you, but you know, you do it reasonably well. And you get to contribute to the swarm, right? You get to go out and try. So maybe next time you work, you try another swarm job, and you just keep trying things till you find something that Tech really likes. But it works. It's a success. You don't hit the mother load, but you do manage to find like a cache, like an old building that hadn't been pillaged yet, and you managed to drag some good stuff out of there.
I think Tech gets distracted very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so maybe they like
eventually have to put Tack on like a retractable leash.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, but at the very least, you gain a little bit of respect among both this group that you're with and the swarm at large. So mark a renown.
Yay.
And you did manage to bump up one from Torgor's miserable attempt at work. But that's okay, Torgor, you got a new job now. So you have two choices. You can either live a modest lifestyle for the week, instead of living off your mom, or you can make 4 gold. So 4 Xenos.
I'll make 4 gold.
Yeah, take the Xenos. Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, great. Cool.
Like I'm gonna pay for my own groceries, please, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. So you stay with your mom, and your mom's not around a lot, right? Like she doesn't like hang out at home. She has a pretty 1,000 years worth of Golgari Swarm social contacts to hang out with.
Plus, like she goes to work when she says she's going to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So your mom is she technically, and this is funny because she's like a cop that's been given desk duty because she's technically like a professional assassin.
Okay, so she's Triska.
She's and there's some parallels there, right? Where Triska gets to work the street. Your mom should be out there murdering the enemies of the swarm, right? Like wearing the bug armor and doing the Metal Gear Solid thing, but she made a mistake and is paying for it. And so I don't know what I guess she's giving other assassins jobs instead, right? She's like,
like a handler.
Yeah. And so maybe that conversation with you, I feel like maybe that affected her too. Like, I think that she's going back to, sometimes you like give somebody advice and then you're like, oh, that was like really smart and insightful. I should apply that to my own life. Like I'm a dummy for telling somebody else how to be good. And then
in my life.
Yeah. So I think she does that. I think she goes back to the swarm, and instead of being like, I just can't wait to get out there and kill again, she's like, no. I can only kill one person at a time. But if I'm a really good handler, these people can be my knives, and I can help kill 10 times as many enemies of the swarm. So yeah, I definitely think that this positively affects her too.
If the murder lives in your heart.
That's right.
I'm not going to finish the sentence because I couldn't think of anything, and I think it's just perfect the way it was.
That's how parables work. You just let them just linger, and then someone else will figure it out. Perfect. Okay, cool. So Winnegar, you've had a rough couple of weeks, bud. What are you gonna do?
Winnegar is going. He has some weird descent happening right now.
Yeah.
It's like
let's talk about the mechanical choice that you want to make, and then pair it up with a fictional one, or vice versa. Also, before I forget, Tack, make sure you mark a guild renown, and at the end of these downtime scenes, recharge your inspiration too. If you don't already have it, mark it. Anyway, sorry, Carlos, I interrupted you there. Please continue.
I think there's now a new he's an engineer. Questions are his thing, and now he has a real life question that affects him and the people he knows and a person that he actually liked. So I think he's completely obsessing about this. I think he goes back to the league, and what he wants to do is find a division for surveillance equipment, to either build stuff or to steal stuff, so he can bring that back for it. He's basically becoming Batman very slowly. He wants to come back with some gadgets that he can have in the field. And I think this means that he has to do something that he really doesn't want to do. And that's to see his frenemy Keeb. This guy who's basically big man on campus in the Is It League that doesn't like Winnegar at all, but you wouldn't know that on the outside because he's kind of Mean Girls about it, He's Regina from Mean Girls. And basically Winnegar probably needs him to okay him to get into that division where he needs to go. So it's something probably super hard. Or he has to humiliate himself in front of this guy.
Okay, cool. So what does Keeb do? What kind of is Keeb? What is their specialty?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and I think he would what pays the most, and that's probably army stuff, war, right? War always pays the most. So I think he would if he's at the top of that, there would be a surveillance division below him that he could get Winnegar in.
Keeb is the Iron Man 1 Tony Stark of the Is It League. So now I'm just imagining a Vidalkin, but with like a goatee and sunglasses. Who really likes AC/DC.
Yeah.
Which is
like,
funny because is
it
it in electricity? That's a good, bam, good jokes. So yeah, so Keeb is like an arms dealer, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But like the nicest guy, like Tony Stark, like very charismatic and like very nice to like everyone wants to take pictures with him. Like he's a cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you're gonna try to get a meeting with, or I don't think you can get a meeting with Keeb. I think if you try to go through any normal channel, it just won't be happening. But you can pin him down at some kind of like event, like at maybe like a party or like an unveiling or like something where he like whatever the Is It equivalent of a TED Talk is like.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I want to do that then.
Okay.
I want to go up to him when he's like shaking hands and making connections. And I basically want to put him in a position where he's surrounded by people. And he has to be nice to me and like has to give me something.
Okay.
Regardless. Yeah, like give me a job. So basically I go to this TED Talk event.
Yeah, so this is a let's say it's like a charity fundraiser for
that's
like
what I was thinking too, like a charity
children affected by gruel refugees, people who lived in neighborhoods where the gruel came and like destroyed it and they had to move out, and so they're like refugees from like gruel destruction. And and so Keeb is like this is like a pet charity of his, and he's here. He spoke and he donated a bunch of money, and he's here talking. And so when we see Winnegar come in, I imagine this is taking place at a fancy like ballroom or whatever somewhere, and everybody's all dressed up, and we see a lot of Is It, obviously a lot of Azorius, probably some Simic as well, and Orzhov, like all of them were like civilized guild, and everybody's dressed up in like ball gowns and like nice outfits and jewelry and stuff, and we see like waiters with trays of hors d'oeuvres going around. Obviously there's an ice sculpture, and I think it has to be like of Jace Beleren like holding some kids, and the kids are like smiling, and because you gotta do Jace, he might not be around all the time, but like we gotta, it's a big ice statue of him, and he's kind of melting a little bit, and everybody's drinking, talking. There's a band playing in the background, and we pan across all of this like lovely scenery, and then we see Winnegar coming in. What do you make your entrance? How is Winnegar dressed, and what is his what does he look like when he comes in?
Yeah, I think he's like dressed well enough to get in, but you could like, if Keeb's thing is like being top dog and showing off, like Winnegar's tuxedo doesn't quite fit right. Shirt's a little disheveled and untucked. Like if like this entire thing is to show that like, okay, Keeb is the alpha, and like I'm nothing, and I'm gonna basically like beg him for this. I'm gonna put him on the spot for a job. The best I can, like in front of people.
Okay. All right. So you enter the room, and there's like crowds of people everywhere. Nobody's really paying attention to you. And I think you can see across the room, you see Keeb, and he's holding court, right? There's like 6 other people who are just in the middle of like laughing at some self-effacing joke that he's made. And they're all laughing. Keeb, I think I'm going to just go with it. I'm going to go with the he's played by Robert Downey Jr. from the early 2000s. And yeah, he's just he's a very handsome Vidalkin, dressed subtly, but in clothes that are more expensive than all of the rent you've ever paid in your whole life combined. He has his Is It arm gauntlet thing, but this is his dress gauntlet, not his work gauntlet. So it's made out of, it's more delicate and made out of fancier material. So he's got that on, and he's got his little goatee, and he's talking. That's right, he's Mizium, man, and he's talking to somebody, and everybody around him is just laughing, oh, Keeb, you're so smart and funny and rich. And you see this happening across the room. Do you just like beeline towards him?
Yeah, I'm gonna beeline. I'm gonna grab a drink like right off the table. I'm gonna take a sip, and then I'm gonna like snap off one of Jace Beleren's fingers and toss it inside.
Perfect. Yeah.
Throw it inside and start like heading over. And basically, I'm gonna, like every movie we've ever seen where someone approaches a conversation, I'm gonna go in and also laugh.
So you walk in as everyone else's laughter is tapering off. You just walk in behind them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one, Keeb.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Oh my god.
All right, you got a 13. Okay, so maybe only there's a woman, a Simic hybrid, and she's like a human dolphin hybrid. So she's kind of like gray. She's bald and gray and kind of rubbery looking. And she's wearing a dress that looks like it's made out of like seaweed. She looks at you like, what? Who are you? Because you just walk up beside her. And everyone else just like ignores you because they're all so laser focused on Keeb. Keeb doesn't notice you at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he says he finishes his joke, lets everyone laugh. He knows how to pause for a laugh. Lets everybody finish, like they're giggling, and he says, well, and that was the last time I was ever in District 12. I tell you, until they clean this place up. And he puts his hands up and he's like, but we're not here to talk about District 12. We're here to talk about the children. And everybody's like, kind of like, oh, of course, the children. And he says, I believe in everybody's right to join whatever guild they want to join. I have friends in the Gruul, all right? It's just that these unchecked behaviors, we've got the law for a reason, right? And he looks at an Azorius law mage who kind of nods like, yes, yeah, you're right. We're friends because you said the law. And he turns and he says, but that's what we're here for today. We're collecting funds. These Xenos, every single one is going to go to a good cause. Oh my God. And so he's just going to keep talking unless you say something.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump in. I especially love, I have friends in other guilds. Is like, ooh, like that is the equivalent of like, I've got brown friends.
I mean, my best friend is a Selesny.
Yeah, right? I can make Loxodon jokes because my best friend's a Selesnyan. Like this is a thing, like showing, because you have to show there's this balance if you want to be a social climber in Ravnica, this balance between being a guild like hardliner and be like, I only know people who are in the Izzet, all the other guilds are inferior, this kind of like nationalistic but guildistic like jingoism that happens, versus being like, no, but I'm a good Izzet. We can be friends, right? I'm in a different guild from you, but we can see eye to eye. We share a color. I'm blue-red, you're blue-white. Come on, we can just guy together.
Yeah, as soon as he starts saying like, that's when I realized I had to do something, or
right,
stuff like that. Winnegar is gonna butt in and start agreeing with him. I know exactly what you mean, and like he's way louder, and there's like people in front of him. Like, I know exactly what you mean. Like, and just excuse me.
And you kind of like push your way through. Dolphin woman makes like a sonar noise as you shove her aside. And you get up to the front into that little like safe zone, the bubble in front of him where it shows that he's not talking to any one person. There's a little circle gathered in front of him, and you kind of step out a little bit into it, and you nudge past a Azori or a Boros Minotaur who's just like, I never, and like gets shoved aside. And and Keeb gives you a look. He like looks down, kind of looks down at you, and then I assume you have more to say.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, when I heard what was going on with these children, I knew I had to do something. I can't spend all my days in the junkyards, okay? I need to dedicate my life to something greater to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
And he looks at you and he says, and you can tell he does not recognize you. Like he's talking to a stranger. And he looks at you and he says, you sound a little winded, buddy. Did you run here from the junkyard? And everybody's just like, Keeb. Yes, put him in his place.
Oh God, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I hate this guy.
100% accurate.
Yeah. Nah, I want to like overzealous laugh. And like kind of like put my hands on him a little bit and see how like he reacts to that.
Yeah, I think he doesn't. So he's controlled enough that he doesn't like recoil from you, but he makes a face like, he's touching me. Stranger's touching me. Where's my bodyguards?
Yeah. So I want to remind him like that we went to school like we came up around the same time. Like Keeb, you got to remember, like I've gained a few pounds, but it's me, Whittaker.
And he kind of like, he looks at you and he squints and he's like, wine gum? Is that you? Oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And he looks around and he says, we went to the academy together. Old wine gum here. What have you been up to?
I've been working with Rourke in removals. So we've been handling, and I imagine like the guys who handle the removals of like basically discarded like experiments, they're called like junk boys or something like that. Like, so like junk boy, like, oh, he's a junk boy. Like, oh, we've been handling removals for a while now. We really got it all fixed up.
And he turns, when you say that, he turns to the group, and this is like him giving like insider information, because there's only maybe one Izzet here, and he looks at this Izzet guy like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And he says to the crowd, he's like, the Izzet League, it's a well-oiled machine. It's just that some parts are oilier than others, huh? And he like nudges you.
That's me. I'm disgusting.
They started laughing at his joke, but then when you overdo it and you're like, everybody's just kind of like awkwardly. Do you see? I think like Carlos, you're aware as a like maintaining, like having a character and stuff in the scene. If you wanted to, if Winnegar wanted to, you could drive the crowd away. Winnegar might not be doing it on purpose, but if you wanted to disperse them, that could be a thing. You could awkward them away from you and they would abandon him. And that would probably piss Keeb off a little, but it'd get you him alone.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I basically want to present him with the question.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because you want an audience, or you want to give them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want an audience where I can basically say like, hey, my skills are being wasted in the junkyard. Like if I could only help the children in some other way, it like basically like, but yeah, I feel like I really reached the top of that place. If I could just like, knew someone who can get me into surveillance, I feel like I could have saw something and say something.
Midway through this sentence, Keeb's like bracer emits a faint blue pulse and a series of like cheerful sounds. And he puts a hand up and he says, I'm gonna have to stop you right there, Wine Gum. I gotta take this. Excuse me. And he turns around. And he turns. We see him turn his hand over, and like a little hologram of like a fairly beautiful Gorgon woman appears, and you hear her say to him, "Keeb, honey, when are you gonna be done with that stupid party? I'm lonely." And he's just like, and he like turns away, like, yeah, I have to go take this. My beautiful girlfriend needs to talk to me. And so he takes a couple of steps away. And the rest of now you're standing in the middle of a group of people who don't know who to pay attention to because Keeb is gone, and they all kind of just look at you.
And I was the last one who talked, so it's like one of those things. Like I still have the floor.
Yeah, right. You have the conch, awkward though it might be.
So I just want to elbow the dolphin woman, and be like, "Chicks, am I right?" And see how that lands.
Oh my God. Okay. Make a performance check with disadvantage.
I can't breathe.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So there's some awkward like laughing. The dolphin lady doesn't like it. I think she's just like, excuse me, and walks away. But you notice the other Izzet that is in the crowd. He is, I think he's a human. He's older. He's got like gray hair, kind of a bit. He's like kind of a bit of like a hunched posture. He's wearing. It's like he's wearing like an academic version of the nice clothes. Like it's like he's a professor and this is the only nice thing he has. So he's like a little out of place. He looks kind of like an old professor. And he's looking at you like very intently. He's paying like very close attention to you. Everybody else is just kind of like now turned. They laugh a little bit and they've turned to each other and are like, I know this person. We're gonna have like a short conversation while we wait for Keeb to come back.
Gotcha. Do I notice this guy noticing me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go up to him. Yeah, I'm just gonna like focus on him and be stirring my drink and be like, so you having fun at these things? I never know what to do. I never know what to say.
And he scowls and he says, that's because you've got half a brain. Everyone around here, and he just like looks and gestures. He's like, fools, morons, each and every one of them.
Well, I mean, and then like Vinegar gets that twinge of just like, whoa, like.
Yeah. And then Vinegar freezes in place. It's a good place to. It's a very handsome freeze. I never get those. When I freeze, I'm always like I look terrible. You know how handsome Carlos is. Wow. It's a good headshot. I like it. Yeah. Well,
is this the rest of the game? Just talking about how handsome Carlos is?
I think so. I think it might be. Yeah. Yeah. Because God knows you can't appreciate your friends while they're around. There we go.
Okay, how about now?
Hi.
Okay.
I'm back.
Wow. Oh, did you hear that?
No, we weren't. It's fine.
What happened? I gotta watch the VOD. God, that's like the worst task you could have given me. What? So wait. Yeah. So the worst thing you can, I don't know where it cut me off, but
he basically said, I hate these things. Everyone here is an idiot.
Yeah. So Vinegar is going to test the water like with this guy because like the only person who is actually a nice human being is how they feel about Keeb. So it's going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, I have half a brain, but like Keeb, he's got all the brains, right? I'm like,
he scowls and he says, well, there's no arguing that he's smart. And certainly he's done well enough for himself. Gestures. I mean, look at all his friends. A real scientist doesn't need friends. But he squints and he's like, looks at you and you're kind of like disheveled. But you're not like these sycophants, are you? Vinegar, was it?
Yes. Yeah, Vinegar. That's my name.
I think I recognize you. You're not one of mine, but I think I've seen you around.
Who are yours? What division are you in?
And he scowls and he says, division. You know what they say. Those who can, do. Those who can't, teach. I could have been a productive member of the league, but he scowls at Keeb. I was denied my approvals. That's what I'm here for, you see. And he reaches into his robes. He takes out a sheaf of like slightly sweat dampened paper. And he holds them out and he says, I know if I can just get that blowhard to sign off on these for me, I can get the funds that I need. Then I can begin work on the device. But what are you doing here?
Did he show me the plans, or
he just waved them around a little bit?
Yeah, but
they don't look like plans so much as like a patent application.
Gotcha. I'm here for a job, actually. I'm kind of sucking up to this guy over here, getting some type of division.
He nods and he says, sometimes, my boy, we have to debase ourselves for the sake of science. Oh, I've learned that. I've learned that more than once. Oh, the debasement I've had to face.
Can we cut to that debasement? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, like, did he have to take a summer job at like a Baskin Robbins? Like, what
I think we cut to like an Is It League obviously Ral is there. So he's been waiting. There's this scene of essentially like a courthouse or something, like an Is It approvals office.
He's wearing bell bottoms, so we know
you can yeah. He has an afro and a fringe vest and bell bottoms under his lab coat. Everybody's smoking and everything's like sepia for some reason, so we can tell it's a flashback.
So we know it's different or it's Mexico. That's the only reason that people use that in movies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Right. Everyone's speaking Spanish for some reason. So we see he's in a line and then someone comes out of a door at the end. He's sitting in a line with a whole bunch of other nervous looking scientists, like men and women in Vidalcan and various people waiting to get, and they all have like portfolios or devices, like prototypes or whatever. And he has his sheet, he has his paper, and it like looks like the same sweaty sheets of paper. It's not obviously, but it's like, he's been here before. And he's nervous, and somebody comes out, Vidalcan in an outfit comes out and says next, and goes inside, and he gets up, and he says, like, he's got a little pep talk with himself. He's like, all right, this is the time, this is it. They're gonna approve it this time. And he walks into a room, and it's lit up like a tribunal room, right? It's all dark, and we see a light in the center, and then some shadowy figures in the back. And he walks up, and he comes up, and he like clears his throat. And he's like, gathered adjudicators. And we just hear a voice, and we recognize it's Ral. We hear a voice from the shadow. He's like, no, next. And he's like, but I haven't had a chance to make my proposal. And Ral's like, no, I saw the paperwork. Get out of here. And he's like, but I swear, if you just give me a chance to explain it. And he's like, no. And we see Ral, he turns and he leans over into the light, and we see his rugged, handsome face. And I feel like Ral would be played by like Bruce Campbell, but like early Bruce Campbell, like Evil Dead 2 Bruce Campbell. Yeah, because he's got that same like facial structure, and that same kind of like, hey buddy, what's going on? Like, and he just leans into the shot.
Yeah,
and
he's got a handsome douchebag face.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't have time for this. Like, I saw the thing, and he's like, listen, the last thing it needs is another death ray. Get out of here. Try to, I don't know, go into agriculture. And he crumples the papers, and you can see him swearing revenge in his eyes, and he storms out. And then we cut back to the same man, and it's only been like probably like a year, but he looks like 40 years older. Like he's all wizened by academia. And he says, you hear him mumbling, like he's lost in his memory. So Winnegar, you've just been staring at him mumbling at himself for like 20 seconds. Zarek. If I see him again, I'm gonna zap him like beams.
Whoa, yeah. I mean, sounds like this whole entire business has got you in knots, got you running around. You can't even accomplish what you want to accomplish, right?
And he turns to you and he says, I'm at the end of my rope, boy. If I can't get this approved, I just might quit the league entirely. Maybe some other guild will have me and my genius.
Whoa. Well, maybe it's something I can help you with. What are you working on?
And so you do that thing where you invite a nerd to explain the thing they care about to you, and he turns and he's like, well, and that's when Keeb turns back around, and he seems surprised to see that you're back. The two of you are back here. He looks a little flushed, like he's just had kind of a saucy conversation with his girlfriend, and now he has a reason to get out of here. And so he turns around and he's just like, time to, oh, what are you still doing here? And you see, so here, I'm going to make you make a choice here, Whittaker. Keeb has exactly enough attention to pay to one of the two of you. If you step forward in front of this dude, Keeb will talk to you, but this guy he'll leave. He'll get like, he won't have his chance. If you let him talk to Keeb, you'll lose your opportunity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What do you want to do?
So as soon as Keeb turns around,
he makes a face and he actually probably says it out loud. He's like, oh, you're still here.
Yeah. Winnegar's eyes like light up. And then this feels like kind of familiar again, where like there's someone that is trying to explain their their machine to him and how they can't get it made because of red tape. And Winnegar again is in the same situation where he could help this person or not help this person, and like he's just like instantly has like a flashback about when he first met Wenzel and how excited he was, and then also how angry he was that no one would listen to him. And I guess just like Winnegar in that moment just like takes a step back and is just like, oh, I'm hearing this guy's awesome ideas right now, and he just like buries it and pushes this guy forward.
Yeah, you're like, listen, Keeb, I was just listening to this guy. He's got some great ideas. You should talk to him. And you give him a little shove forward. And so this guy, staggers forward and he's like, and he has his moment. Keeb is like, he's like, it's like, all right, Professor, go ahead. You got 30 seconds. And he says, and you can tell that this guy's never been given the opportunity to give the elevator pitch. And he says, yes, honored league member. I have prepared here a presentation that will explain to you why Ravnica needs an enormous death beam hovering above the city so that we can target the enemies of the guild and blast them with fire from as high up as possible. That way, no one would be able to stand in our way. We could kill literally anyone. And he just like, you can see his eyes like getting all wide, and he's like, what I propose is that we channel the ambient mana of the lightning storm that has formed over the city. And the Keeb is just like nodding, and he leans in and he says, I'm gonna just go ahead and interrupt you right there. And he stops, the old man stops, and the guy who looks old stops, and he says, now I don't want to tell you this is a bad idea, because I think you got promise. Orbital Death Ray. That sounds great. Great. Who wouldn't want to kill their enemies from the sky? But I gotta tell you, this really sounds like more of a Boros idea. So what I'd do is I'd pack up all your material and I'd head over to the Legion. I'd give them your pitch. I think you're gonna get a lot of traction over there. They love fire, huh? Right? And he's just kind of like trembling. And Keeb's like, all right, good luck. Pats him on the back. And he walks past you, but without looking, he just says, he's like, nice to see you again, Wine Gum. And like walks out into the crowd. And so you're next to this beleaguered scientist who's just like holding his like precious death ray plans. And he's just like looking at it and like trembling, and you can't get a read on whether like he's at a loss here. What do you do?
I'm gonna pat him on the back and kind of like exhale this entire plan that I had, because it just walked out the door to get laid apparently. And just be like, hey dude, sounds like they're just not ready for your death ray right now. Let's get you 2 fingers of whiskey. It just like snaps off more fingers.
Nice.
Throws it in the glass. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe we can, and I guess just like want to find out about where this guy works then. Like maybe there's other projects that he can work on at that division.
Yeah.
It's like right now, the Winnegar, his entire thing is off. Like he's not trying to schmooze or do anything. He's going to sit there and drink with basically Wenzel is what's
old Wenzel.
Basically sitting with old Wenzel.
This is a thing, right? Like among the Izzet League, funding is super, super important. And while yes, a sky mounted death beam is totally a valid Izzet idea. They're all mad scientists. It's the popular ideas. It's the ideas that get the stamp, the go ahead. Those are the ones that get made. So there is a degree of like bureaucracy or whatever to get the money to make your weird device. And so this guy's life story and Wenzel's story, and I mean, you've met a lot of disaffected Izzet scientists. Like if you're not also popular, you can't get your works, like your life's work designed. It can't get built. So everybody has it's like in Hollywood, everybody's got a screenplay, just they're waiting to get it done. So everybody has like a transmutation device or a brain swapper or a philosopher's stone ready to change life in Ravnica forever, but they can't get approval for it because they're awkward nerds or they just made the wrong enemy in the academic aspects of the league. So this guy, I mean, this guy's a quack. But you know, I don't think he wants to explain, like he doesn't do that nerd thing where he's like, I'll tell you everything about my thing anymore. That energy is sort of gone. And in fact, I think when he sits down, we cut to a couple of hours later and there's like a drink sitting on top of the paper and it's got like a big like watermark from where he's been placing his drinks on it. And and he just doesn't like, he's not really talking unless I think what happens here is that he invites you to talk. Like he's just like, you know what? I've told my story 100 times. Like, what's your deal, Winnegar? And so you have someone who's actually willing to like listen to you. And he treats you like, well, you haven't seen the world yet. Like you still got so much promise, kid. You're just getting started in this world. What story are you in the middle of telling him when we crossfade to that, like several hours later after many drinks?
Basically, I want to, so if I guess a lot of the Is It League is like building things, right?
Yeah, making stuff.
Question and like making things, right? And Winnegar has probably been really afraid to like tell anyone, and probably why he hasn't been successful in the league is like he really likes taking things apart to know how they work. So like even in removal, like he's taking apart other people's experiments. He's taking apart other people's like, ideas, taking apart other problems.
Yeah.
And I think while drinking, he explains one of his latest things that he started taking apart is that ornithopter. So he starts explaining to this guy without saying it's an ornithopter, but just saying like kind of explaining it. And I think we're at the point of the conversation where he said way too many specific things that this guy is realizing, oh shit, he means surveillance. He means it's flying. It's the size of a football. It has, this, that, and this guy just realized like, oh, he's talking about taking apart an ornithopter and what that means.
Yeah. Okay. So when he has that revelation, I think he leans in and he hasn't said much, right? A lot of nodding and like, And he leans in and he says, I think you've got a lot of promise, but you have to be careful about these things. I've learned, trying to get my death ray approved, that it's not always about the idea, but it's about the friends that you make and how they can help you. I've always tried to go it alone. I never relied on anybody else to help get me through, but if I'd had a team, if I'd had people to support me, maybe today I could be burning people alive from the safety of the clouds. But that's not where my life led me. That's not how my story ends, but there's still time for you, Winnegar. You've still got time to see your dreams become a reality. And so you've got to be careful. Now, I know you and me and every other member of the league out there, we joined because of one thing. We're curious. We want to know how things work and then to burn them to the ground. But you got to be careful about whose toys you take apart. The Azorius, I don't know everything about them, but I do know that all they care about is keeping order. And if you've broken their rules, regardless of whether those rules are just or not, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And you can't invent a death ray from a prison cell. That's what my old man always said. And I'm going to pass that on to you. Now, the death ray's a metaphor, son. It's not a literal death ray, except in my case, in which it is a literal death ray. My death ray is real, and I want to build it and destroy my enemies with it. But your death ray lives in here, and he pokes you in the chest. Maybe your death ray is a rampaging golem. Maybe your death ray is a never-ending volcano eruption. Maybe your death ray is a new and a better light bulb. I don't know. But whatever that death ray is, you gotta keep that dream alive. And you can't do it without friends.
As soon as he starts naming, like, maybe your death ray is this, maybe your death ray is that, he's like, oh my God, old man, do you know what this means? Like, what's his name?
You don't know. Like, he's just Professor Deathray. Like, you've never asked his name. Nobody has ever asked it. It doesn't come. I love that you're like, old man. Because we all know in the narrative of the story who the protagonist and who the supporting character is. He's going to be in the credits like
old man.
Yeah, Robert Redford as old man in bar. So
we got Redford to do old man in bar.
I'm
it's
sorry.
a cameo. He owed me a favor.
I've been picturing him as Mads Mikkelsen. So.
See, I thought somebody was going to say I've been picturing him as Zach Galifianakis. So he memes. So yeah, he go ahead. So you're like old man.
Yeah. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Right. We got so excited about Robert Redford.
Yeah, I got so freaking sidetracked with Robert Redford. Yeah, like I basically want to be like agree with him. Like, you're right. You're 100% right. But I don't have my thing. I can't contribute if I don't have it. It's like everyone in the league can pull things out of nowhere, and I don't have that.
He shakes his head and he's like, your friend Keeb. You think he knows everything about everything? You think Ral Zarek has it all figured out? No. It's just an illusion, a projection of how you want everyone to see you. On the inside, I know you look at me and you see a confident, experienced scientist. And if you asked me anything there was to ask about focusing the rays of the sun into a terrible weapon, I'd be able to tell you. But that's not how it works. It's about improvising. It's about living in the moment. How do you think that I've survived all this rejection? He shakes his head. He says, just leave yourself open to curiosity, my boy. Go looking for it, and it'll slip through your fingers. But one day, if you let it, you're going to wake up in your bed, and you're going to sit up, and you're going to find your death ray right here. And he taps you again in the chest. It's in there. It's just waiting for you.
Winnegar's eyes get really big, and then he's gonna run out and go straight to Nerm's place to get the ornithopter.
So
he wussed out on it.
Yeah.
He wussed out on the ornithopter. He went against everything that he wanted to do, and he put it away instead of like really taking it, like doing the is it thing, taking it apart, figuring it out, tracking it, like who's surveilling us, like figuring everything out about it. He's like, you're right, old man. I hope you get your death ray made.
Yeah, so when you run out, he's like waving, he's waving his plans, and he's like, that's right, Winnegar, you go get your death ray. And like the bar is empty. It's just the two of you drinking, and like a waiter like looks over like, what the fuck? All right. He's like polishing the table. And yeah, you run out of the room to go and do that. So I think we get a montage of you doing like research. So what does that look like? Like, do you just go to Nerm's house and you're like, I work here now, fuck off, Nerm?
Yeah, I think New Winnegar would. Like, I'm trying to think like Winnegar. But I'm like, no, this is Death Ray Winnegar. Like Death Ray Winnegar fucking owns Nerm's like
you got a new roommate, Nerm, move over.
Get out of here.
Yeah, okay. He goes there.
All right, cool. Yeah, so it seems I think Nerm gets caught up in your is it fervor, right? So the scenes of you like dismantling and making plans and like assembling this thing and like trying to figure out the ornithopter and doing your research, and then every once in a while Nerm will like we see him like bringing you food, or there's a shot of you like asleep on a table and he like puts a blanket over you and like, yeah, he's just like, okay, yeah, cool, I guess you live with me now. Whatever, that's fine. And so he just helps out. And you're gonna do that. So I think it seems to me like research is the thing, right? Like you want to like learn more about this. You want to go past the barrier of safety. You want to break the law and like find out the truth.
Yeah.
So
because that's another thing that like Winnegar doesn't do. Like he doesn't go past safety ever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is a moment in every league scientist like thing where you're like, the safety recommendations are just recommendations, right?
Damn.
Every device that has a safety warning on it, you realize, wait a second, that doesn't apply to me. I'm special. Like
we see Winnegar like laying in bed and he looks at like at his pillow and he just tears the tag off.
Yeah, right. I'm doing it. That's so good. Yeah, you just start like jaywalking and like the rules are for norms. I can do whatever I want. Yep, totally. Cool. So fully under the effects of your own hubris, you begin to dismantle this thing. So when you do research, you declare the focus of your research, a person, a place, or a thing, and then we make a check. So what is the focus of your research? Is it the ornithopter itself? Is it something bigger, but you're using the ornithopter as the means of your research? What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's the ornithopter. What I want to do is like combine that with my surveillance like idea and just really rig the ornithopter so I can like surveil things. So either happen.
Yes, we talked about the reverse Palantir thing, right? Yeah, totally. Okay. Yes, I think that this is the kind of project you could accomplish with a week of hard sciencing. Also,
like the other thing that's in his mind about the surveillance is not only checking on like this woman that like broke in and like killed Wenzel, but also like, is there tape of her breaking in? You know what I mean? Like, is there an ornithopter that was in the area? And like, because I imagine like any surveillance, like you can track like, oh, they turned the corner, there's an ornithopter there, and there's another corner. It's like, oh, she passes this one here. Like, can we track this person? That's another thing that's on Wenzel's mind, I guess.
Yeah. So I think if you succeed, and I'll give you advantage from your assistant. You have a helper. We'll make an Arcana check with advantage. I think if you can get a 10 or better, you get a flash of, you can ask me one thing from the network, right? You get a flash of insight from Dovin Band's intelligence network. You'll learn one thing, and then the ornithopter will self-destruct. It'll just blow itself out. Basically, you hook it up to it. 10 or better. If you can get a 15 or better, then you have like temporary access, and you can actually like search through it, and you can ask me 3 questions. If somehow you miraculously like crit or you get a 20 or better, you have basically permanent access until they trace the back door. You get a back door into Dovin Band's network until they actively hunt it down. So we'll give you a graduated success on this one. If you get less than 10, I think you by some terrible fate, you blow out the thing and you don't get access to it. And if somehow you manage to critically fail, you alert Dovin Band that the network has been compromised, and he like it gets you. Don't get a 1. Well, don't get 2 1s because you have advantage. So
yeah.
Just don't roll.
Okay,
2. Here we go. Oh no!
Oh.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a choice. This is great. I'm gonna give you a choice for a reroll here. So you've been working for like, I don't know, you've lost track of time, right? You and your new assistant Nerm. And Nerm keeps bringing you food and like taking care of you and all of this stuff. And I will let you make a second attempt at it. But if you do, Nerm is put in like direct danger as a result. Like this is the line, right? Where you're like, you've been pushing the boundaries of science all the time. This is another thing that an Is It scientist has, another decision they have to make, where they realize people are ablative in the face of true science. Like, Nerm has been helping me, but he's a sucker, right? Like I don't need him.
He's a sucker,
right? Like you can think about it and feel however you want about it, but again, this is another gate that science waits for no man. And I think that probably, how about this? Nurm is out of he's out of his house one day, and he's been working on his own side projects and stuff. And you can be vaguely aware of that. And maybe you've overheard him trying to tell you about his project. Like he's like, yeah, I got this new thing I'm working on. It's gonna be great. I have this power cell, and you're not really paying attention because you're doing your own thing. And you've been doing these last batch of tests where you hook it up and you activate try to activate it, and it powers up, and then it goes off, and you don't have enough juice for it. And you realize if you just use Nurm's power cell, you could try again, but it's going to set Nurm back like weeks. And then you'll have to explain to him why his power cell, or like trick him into thinking he failed.
It's okay.
Torgor really wants you to do it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, do it. Screw that guy.
Well, you're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Betrayal totally pays off. Betray your friends. Get what you want.
Nat 20.
So you get
It
a
was a
nat.
nat 20, but the
Additional two.
disadvantage
You get a
was
nat
a
20.
nat 1.
Yeah, if you had had disadvantage, and Nurm doesn't help you, so that 22 counts. So while Nurm walk me through this. So Nurm, I think probably just to amplify the tragedy, you've done it and you failed and it didn't work, and Nurm is like, hey man, it's okay. I mean, everybody fails now and then, and you just got to pick yourself up and try again. Hey, so tonight's the big night. I know you've been really busy with your work, but I'm gonna take mine for the first test run. It's not as impressive as yours, but listen, I just need to run out and get a couple of new parts, and then everything's good to go. I'll be right back. I just gotta pop out to the junkyard. And he slips out. And
Winnegar, there are like circles under Winnegar's eye, and he's just like, pick yourself up and try again. And basically he just drags Nurm's table to like his side of the room, and he just like starts like clipping stuff and putting stuff together, and like using his power to like, throw it together, and like for like a split second, like looks at all of Nurm's stuff, and then also like sees the blanket that Nurm puts on him at night, and then like the sandwich that Winnegar didn't eat that he left out for him, and like the crust is cut off. and Winnegar goes, fuck it, and he puts it together and like slams
just pull the switch. And then there's the big the Jacob's ladders, and like we see Winnegar in silhouette as the machine like powers up, and on the table the ornithopter blinks on, the light on its central dome blinks on, its wings turn on, it judders on the table. It looks like it's about to overload, right? We see sparks flying off of it. And then the blue display turns red, and you see on it an interface, and basically it runs through like whatever the Ravnica equivalent of like source code is, where you've rebooted it into developer mode, and now you have access through this ornithopter into Dovinban's network. You can pull up all of the cameras on all of the ornithopters throughout Ravnica, and until you do something like risky with them, Dovinban will not notice. Him and his operators won't notice. Next to you on the table is Nurm's machine. You never bothered to learn what it was for, and it is a melted slag heap now. The battery is blown out. There's battery acid like dripping off the table. The thing is all twisted, but you got what you wanted. Now you have. Damn,
that should be the name of this episode. You got what you wanted.
You got what you wanted. And we cut to Nurm, and Nurm is in a he's in like a bodega basically, and he's sitting over looking down at a freezer full of like ice cream sandwiches and stuff, and he's just like trying to remember what kind would Winnegar like. I'm gonna get this one, and he like pulls out a little, it's like one of those like SpongeBob like ice cream things, but it's Niv Mizzet's head with like gumball eyes, and he pulls it out and he's like, yeah, that'll inspire him. And he goes up to the counter and he pays for it, and he leaves and gives the little cat a pet on his way out. And he walks back and he's got his like groceries under his arm, and he's got a bag with some parts in it. And he's walking home whistling like, all right, tonight's the night. Time for you, Nerm. And then maybe Tack will respect you finally. And I think we see him heading home. And he comes home and he grabs the door handle and he opens it, and there's like a faint, he can smell, you can see him like do that thing the TV shows do where he's like he can smell something, and he's like, is that smoke? Oh no. And he like drops the groceries and he runs in because he thinks you've hurt yourself or something, like something bad has happened. What does he see when he comes in?
He sees his machine, maybe one of the legs is even like broken a little and like moved down, like it's completely burnt and smoking, but he just sees like Vinegar hunched over, bathed in the screen light. Screen light. Like I'm picturing Matthew Broderick in War Games. Like, like when it clicked on, it was like bleep, bleep, and then it said like, would you like to play a game? like that type of thing, like global thermonuclear war. And as Nerm like walks in, Vinegar like even hears him, but like he's so obsessed that like he does not turn around. Like I imagine if we see a camera, we just see the ice cream melting like on the carpet.
Is it clear to Nerm at a glance what you've done, or do you try to lie to him?
I think so. I think it's like completely clear. Like it's like there's wires going from his stuff into my
okay.
stuff.
So I think then we see illuminated in that same light. We see Nerm drop to his knees, and the camera's from above, and he's just like, no, and like pans up and out and into darkness. So Nerm's ruined, but you got what you wanted.
Behold, we make another enemy.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is here is, and we can talk about this next time about what happens with Nerm, but there may be a way out of this, but it's not going to be good for him either. It could be like, cool, so guess who's my new apprentice? Go and fetch me some things. Like, your work doesn't matter. You can work for me now, or you can just leave and be like, thanks, you've served your purpose.
Yeah, like he figured it out. Like he knows how it works. Yeah. Oof.
All right, so Vinegar, you fantastic work. You now have access to this network of surveillance across Ravnica that could be very, very useful to you. We'll see what you find in it next time. But last but not least, and I can't believe we're gonna end on this. Road, what are you gonna get up to?
Yeah. I think she returns to the Simic Combine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she writes a letter to her sister, and we can get into that next week. I can tell you the specifics of it next time. But she's going to write a final letter to her sister and send that off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she starts throwing her stuff into boxes.
Interesting.
Her apartment, but the clock hits a certain hour in the dead middle of the night, and she pulls out her keys to her cousin's apartment.
Okay.
Her cousin's passed away a few months, almost a year back, but the apartment has not been reclaimed by Simic yet, I think through some lost, misplaced paperwork. And at a certain time, she heads up to this apartment. Okay.
So yeah, you head through the halls, and you make your way there. And are you here first or second? I guess is the question. Do you arrive and they're already there, or do you get there first and wait for them?
I show up early, I think.
Okay. All right. So you unlock the door and you come inside. What's the inside of the apartment like? Obviously it's like dusty, right? Because it's been like left alone for a while. Is everything already in boxes and the furniture's got plastic wrap over it, or what is it?
Yeah.
What does it look like inside?
I think it's been like decently like packed up, I think. I think Rhoda's also like reclaimed it a bit. Like I do think that like her cousin was perhaps like a bit higher up in the league than she was, and so I think that there's like a nice swimming pool, but like all of the furniture is like packed up tight. Like there's dust coating everything, and I think there's just like one couch that Rhoda's like taken the plastic off of, like to not make too big of a mark. Okay. But besides that, it's kind of shrine-esque in its sort of
yeah. Okay, cool. So you go in and you sit down and you just wait.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So right on time, the door opens again. And I don't know if do you have any particular ideas about what this person like looks like their race or no? Okay. All right. So we see someone come in. Now it's all very shadowy. The lighting in here is incredibly film noir, right? The lighting's coming through like slatted blinds. You're underground anyway, so the light is like artificial sunlight or whatever from outside. So there's this, we see your face with like lines of light on it, and a shadowy figure comes in. They close the door. We can see that they're wearing just a like a dark clothes, something indistinct. They maybe have a like a hat, like a felt hat that they take off when they come in. We see the light glint off like slicked back like black hair. They might be a human, they might be an elf. It's hard to tell. And when they come in, they see you, and they say, "Well, you've been busy." It's like a perfect time for everybody to freeze. This tension is killing me. I'm dead. I'm literally dead. I have died.
I thought it was just me.
I've died. No, that's it. We're all frozen in excitement to find out what happens. And then Jesus Lord, God, I can't.
Oh, we're all back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. That was the most tense thing that has ever happened. So everybody can breathe again.
Also, picturesque freeze of Carlos once again, mid-sip, just locked in place.
Yep, I know what I'm using for the thumbnails for this episode.
Was the logo like facing out?
So your contact comes in, and they look at you on the couch, limbed in the light, and they say, "Wow, you've been busy."
Why? Trying to get the job done.
And he's dead?
Yes.
What happened to the body?
Oh, well, you didn't specify, so it's in the Rose's hands right now.
That's fine. Seize yours of. It was an inevitability. We just needed to buy a few days.
He said quite a few things before he passed, however.
So you have intelligence for us?
Yes. And I explain all of the Ralzeric stuff.
Yeah, I think he says he approaches and he says, start at the beginning. And he sits down on the couch next to you. And as you start to tell him literally everything, he reaches into his jacket and he takes out a silver cigarette case. And he opens it and he puts a cigarette in his mouth. And the last shot we get, as we hear you spilling the beans, this guy, is we see him bring a gold lighter up to the cigarette and he lights it and the fire illuminates his face. And we see for just a second his like ice blue eyes. And then we fade.
What? No. No, it can't be.
I don't know how I feel.
I don't know anything about magic, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know who it's supposed to be. Is it someone?
Is it Khan?
Isn't it? I don't know. I don't. Who could say? I didn't say. So
is it Goku?
It's Goku. Yeah.
Goku only in Super Saiyan form because that's when his eyes go blue.
Or sometimes they're green.
Yep. So that'll do it. What a great episode. Oh my God. Thank you so much, everybody. That was fantastic. It's really cool to get to like see all these little vignettes for all the characters. There's so much fuel for like cool stuff there. I feel like everybody just gets like a shit ton of experience. Let's take a look.
I hope so, because I don't know how much experience I need to level up.
How much do you have right now?
I have 6.
You're probably pretty close.
You need 2. You only need 2 to level up. Yeah, because you need your level plus 4. And then you lose 8, and then you go up, and you only need 9.
Why have I been doing 6 plus my level?
TK's playing on hard mode.
I'm so mad.
It says right in the handout.
Leveling up when I reach 6 plus my level, and I was like, "Oh, this seems normal."
Yeah, it's XP enough to equal your level plus 4. So if you want to recalculate and let me know what you're, okay,
I don't. I deserve this.
I deserve this.
I deserve this. I should have.
All right.
Been paying attention.
So I think the only one we don't answer is, did you learn something about Jace Beleren and his conspirators or servants? Because we've kind of we took a step back from that, but. Right. Did you express a unique aspect of your class, race, or background? Yes, everybody. Definitely. Did you express your connection to your guild in a meaningful way? Yes, everybody. You all did. Mm-hmm. Did your alignment complicate your character's life in an interesting way? What do you think? Definitely Winnegar, for sure.
Yeah, Winnegar, 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I think also Torgor.
Yeah, what alignment are you, Torgor? Chaotic neutral?
I'm chaotic neutral, so impulsivity.
Yeah.
But I think
I need to talk to Adam, because the moment I said a partner for the fight, I had someone in mind that might be an irrational decision. So you'll find out later.
Is it my fucking sister?
You're like, I need a partner for this fight. His name is Jace Beleren. Go get him for me.
Yeah, exactly. It could be Rose. I don't know. It could, it could be Winnegar's dead mom. It could be that.
Oh, the mom zombie. The zombie.
Yes, bring it back home.
You know,
when reincorporation
ready.
Did we say that on
the
air?
dead mom jokes weren't on stream though, so that just came cruel.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't even hear those. I just assumed it was like taking shots at Winnegar again, because Winnegar had such a triumphant episode.
I mean, it was
back
I swear.
It was just unnecessary cruelty.
No, you were definitely there. You were there, Adam.
Oh, I was.
Yeah, you were there
for the dead mom stuff. I feel like I remember that.
No, you were definitely there, because you were saying she died to get away from him.
Oh yeah, sure, of course, yes, right. Or Winnegar. Winnegar's on top. Winnegar's mad science is going.
This is a good Winnegar
episode. This is a big win for you. So this is the thing. So you were talking about Batman. It ended up that you're not Batman. You're Lucius Fox, right? You now have access to this network of Ravnican surveillance that you could use to turn on anybody you want, right? So if whoever you turned this over to, if you went to Ral and were like, hey, I have this gift for the League, it would benefit the League massively. If you went to the Rose and were like, our conspiracy could use this to hunt down Jace's enemies, that would be huge. You could keep it a secret to yourself, and then suddenly Winnegar knows everything about everybody. Like it's a big moment, I think, for Winnegar, and I'm excited to see what you do with that.
And a worrying moment for me. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, did anybody see what happened at this time in this neighborhood in this sub-district at this time? Yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So did anybody level up? Tack, you leveled up, right?
I did.
It's our level plus how much? 4?
Yeah, level plus 4. So you would need 8 total, and then you go back to 0.
Gotcha. I did not. I am 1 away.
1 away? Okay.
So mad.
Right.
I'm not mad.
I'm 1 away as well, because I have 8 points and I'm 5 right now.
I'm at 6 of 9. So.
Okay, cool. All right. So I will make
I
sure...
also need 9. I can do math. I'm at 8 points and I need 9 points. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So TK, I'll level you. Winnegar, you should be leveled by now. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I feel like you shortchange yourself at some point or something, because you should definitely. I think maybe you missed an episode of writing it down, or it didn't record. But there's no way that you're a full level behind Road and Torgor.
Okay, I'll go to level 5 with 1 point.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. That makes a lot more sense.
Let's do that.
Okay, cool. So Winnegar and TK both.
I'm not.
Next level, I get to start stepping through shadows, and it's over for everyone else.
You become Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick. Pretty sick move.
Keep this up. My mom's going to beat you up.
I want.
I would say you say that as if that's not exactly what she wants.
She's like, tax mom, step on me, please.
Pretty much.
Please.
Yeah. Older elf lady.
Okay.
She's like 1,000 years older than you. Yeah. Good stuff. Cool. Well, let's do some shout outs, and we'll bid this episode and Ravnica farewell for now. Let's start over here with Torgor. Masood, do the thing.
Sure. Hey, I play Torgor, your favorite Rakdos Minotaur. You can find me online at Twitter and on Instagram at MAHRUDEBOI. Twitter, you might see some replies. You won't see any tweets. Staking my flag in that ground real hard. And you can find just what I'm up to on there, as well as pictures of my cat.
Yeah, lots of those. I like it. Every day I'm thankful I follow you on Instagram. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what I like to hear.
You're welcome. Down below, giving us our thoughts on murder for the day. TK, tell us where we can find you on the internet.
Hello, it's me.
Are we doing that now?
Ravnica heartthrob TK Johnson. I write those spooky stories. You can read them on my website that I'll never update because I'm lazy. Yay! TKJReds.com. Yay! Follow me on Twitter. TK joins the fray. I'm doing a lot of D&D fitness, and I have to drink like 22 ounces of water like all the time. I have to drink like 9 to 12 cups of water all the time.
That's a lot of water.
Get one of the TK.
Those things are great.
No, then I have to pick it up. But this one, my sister got it for my birthday, and it says "Seize the Day."
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
wow.
it's
can't
really,
argue with that.
It's very cute. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Right.
Yeah, Tales from the Mist is coming back in August. Let's watch it.
Yes,
Are
do
you gonna be at
that.
Gen Con?
No. I should go to Gen Con, but you know what I'm going to be doing is not that. I'm going to be sleeping at home because I'm lazy.
Okay.
I envy you already. I'm just.
I think it's like a 3-hour drive away for me, so I'm not even like it's not even a good reason not to go.
Yeah, when it's 3 in the morning and I'm playing somebody's prototype board game and not sleeping, and I have to get up at 7 to go and do the booth thing, I will be thinking of you at home in your bed, and I will hate you.
Don't think of me at 3 in the morning. I don't need any emails from your lady friend. It's just
right,
like
Carlos, save us from this misery.
What's up? My name is Carlos. You can find me on all social media under Carlos Crits. You can also find me on this channel Sundays at noon Central Standard Time for Rivals of Waterdeep. You can also find me at Gen Con. On Friday I will be doing a Dungeon Rats live show, and on Saturday I will be doing a panel with you, Adam.
Hell yeah. I was just saying in chat, I have a ton of panels at Gen Con. I got games, I got panels, I got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, it's going to be real fun.
Cool. And last but not least, Secrets McGee over here playing Road. Katie, take us home.
Hi, I will do. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Katie May. Wow, start with that. I'm Katie May. You can find me at Twitter at OKKatieMay. We actually had our second one yesterday, but every 3 months I do a live stream event called Common D&D, which is a mashup of a comedy variety show and some Dungeons and Dragons. We raise money for charity, so look out for that in 3 months. Today I'm releasing one of the episodes of Dungeons, Dice, and Everything Nice, which is an all-femme comedian in Chicago D&D podcast. They're joining a spy guild today, LOL.
Nice.
Then let's see. Yeah, and then those are all the things. Oh, I'm going to be at Gen Con as well. I will mostly be working booth 5826, The Rook and the Raven, or wandering around. So you can come say hi to me as well.
I really hope that your booth and my booth are like within eyesight of each other so that I can throw things at you across the hall.
I was like, oh, that'd be so sweet. And you're like, so I can bully
so I can
you.
throw things at you so I can hassle you. Listen, the con madness sets in fast, so you probably want to be at a great distance. But yeah, I'm actually excited to see people. That's the only reason I like Gen Con, is like just going and being like, it's those purples. I say, I haven't seen you since Gen Con. I'm so excited. And just like, no one is communicating any information. We're just very enthusiastic. And then you have to go back and sell books. But it's nice. It's nice to see your friends. So yeah, if people are at Gen Con, look, like a good number of these people will also be there. So come and find us at our various panels and booths. And keep tuning in to Jace Beleren Must Die, because we got some more episodes between now and then. So that's it for us. If you want to find me doing my thing that isn't this thing, you can find me here doing Roll20 Presents on twitch.tv/D&D every Monday. And then over at twitch.tv/itmejp doing Far Verona and Court of Swords. I do a lot of role-playing stuff, and I love it. Tweet at me at Skinny Ghost, and make sure you tune in again next week for more. We will see you then. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
This stream is brought to you by Roll20, an easy-to-use virtual tabletop dedicated to making tabletop RPGs accessible to everyone. Join the adventuring party at roll20.net.